രാജേശ്വരി വെങ്കിട്ടരമണൻ 130 വാക്ക് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ഷോർട്ട് ആൻഡ് സ്പീഡ് ഡിക്റ്റേഷൻ ആണ് വായിക്കുന്നത്. ഇത് നിങ്ങൾ നല്ലോണം പഠിച്ചാൽ SSC പരീക്ഷകളും ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ഷോർട്ട് ആൻഡ് ഹയർ ഓർ ഹൈ സ്പീഡ് ഇതെല്ലാം നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നല്ലവണ്ണം തീർച്ചയായിട്ട് എഴുതി പാസ്സാവാൻ സാധിക്കുന്നതാണ്. സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യാത്തവരുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ചെയ്യുക. പ്ലീസ് ഡു ഇറ്റ്. It is a great honor for me to speak to you, not only because of the occasion, the memory of one of the greatest statesmen of our time, not only because I have been invited within a series of most prominent and famous thinkers, but also because of the very character of these lectures. Whatever their themes, they have formed a sort of brain trust offering new ideas for the future of this country, which I have learned to love in the course of many years. But as a normal country, with all its good or bad sides, which however is mainly responsible for what I am and what I have attained, what has rendered my life rich and happy. But there I feel the difficulty of my task. Most of that we know of art belongs to the past, and yet in art there is an element which joins those two in a very interesting way. Art, whether sculpture, painting, architecture, industrial objects, aspires form as a conscious and unconscious means of expression as perfect as possible of human dreams, which men feel as their sense of living, of their circumstances, what achievements they are proud of, what they feel, their mental support, what they feel as driving or regulating force, what they hope for. Some people therefore have disposed of art as mere means of propaganda of the rich and mighty of the respective society. But so simple an explanation does not work. Life is immensely complicated. Many symbols have a value for everybody. There are symbols for all types of people, also for the poor, for the opposition, for town people, artisans, peasants, for people of the most differing backgrounds, for sentimental and hard-boiled ones. And these symbols differ from the observer, discovers much which had not been intended to say, even what his subject did not dare to justify to themselves. Thus, history of art can be interpreted as the optical aspect of the history of mankind and the widest sense, insofar as this optical interpretation can be extended to philosophy and mythology and combined with other sources to all aspects of human life, to society, economics, the state history, and often in a very valuable way as art expresses much of the unconscious mind, so that the observer discovers much which had not been intended to say, even what his subjects did not dare to justify to themselves. After these explanatory remarks, let me return to the envisaged aim of this lecture. A lifetime has not been sufficient for me to study more than a small fraction of these fascinating subjects. How then could I ask for your precious attention except in concentrating on some essential aspect which has had some similarity to our present day problems? In the history of art, situations similar in certain respects are so much varied by innumerable other factors that they never repeat themselves within a calculable degree. We never can draw reliable conclusions from them, but at least they can teach us to think, and what is most important, to abandon traditional prejudices, ideas which may have been correct in their time but are no more so under altered circumstances, and yet stick to us as inherited tradition. Normally, these changes are so small that we and our surroundings adopt themselves, but sometimes they revolutionize the world and cause immense changes in every aspect of life, often lead to horrible disasters. Now, we are again in a time when our lives are utterly set up by the discoveries of modern science. At the end of the last century, railways and steamers were already familiar to us. Motor traffic just came up, but aircraft had not yet surpassed its first experimental steps. But what we can do is at least to reconsider the past in a similar perspective.